Hi second graders, it's Miss Harler again. Today I'm going to be giving you a mini lesson on main idea and key details. Hopefully you saw Miss Quinlan's video earlier this week about main idea and key details, but let's do a little bit of a refresher. So I kind of wrote out a little picture here with what I think of when I think of main idea and key details. So the main idea I made nice and big, and then I underlined the word main. The reason that I did that was because when I think of the main idea of a text, it means that it is the biggest, most important thing that you are trying to get from the story or trying to get from the text if it's a nonfiction text. So there's a lot of ideas in stories, a lot of things that you could say a text is about, but when we're talking about the main idea, I want the most important thing. What is this really about? It could be a chapter book that's hundreds of pages long, but what is the one thing that this is really about? So it's the big idea. What's the big thing that goes through the whole book? So that's kind of what I'm thinking of when I think of main idea. And then for key details, there's more than one, right? Usually we talk about 3 key details, but you could be asked to find 2, you could be asked to find 10 if it's a longer book. So there's more than one key detail, of course. These key details, I connected them to the main idea. I said that there's this big main idea that stretches throughout the whole book, the whole story, and then there are these little details that make up the main idea. The reason that we're calling them key details and not just details, the key here means important. So if I'm asking you to find key details in the story, I'm not really looking for something tiny that doesn't really matter to the story. I'm looking for the most important things that happened in a story. So you'll see in a minute, I'm going to use a picture book to demonstrate this to you. We're going to find what the big idea is, and then we're going to go through what the most important parts of the story were that build up this main idea. Okay, and we're going to talk about how they're connected. So let's get started. The book that I have to share with you today is a picture book, so it's fiction, right? You can find main idea and key detail with a nonfiction text, with an expository text, that genre, or you could use fiction, a picture book, a chapter book. It works for any kind of text, right? So this is kind of the organizer I'm going to be filling out today. I have my main idea up top, and then I'm going to ask myself to find 3 key details that support this main idea. Okay, so let's get started. The book that I have for you today is called Harry the Dirty Dog, and it's by Jean Zion. So what I'm going to be looking for are those most important things that happen, and then when we're finished with the whole book, I'm going to think, what was that book really about? If I had to summarize it, if I had to say it in about 1 sentence what that book was about, what would I say? And we'll make that our main idea. Let's get going on the story. It says, Harry was a white dog with black spots who liked everything except getting a bath. So one day when he heard the water running in the tub, he took the scrubbing brush and buried it in the backyard. Then he ran away from home. He played where they were fixing the street and got very dirty. He played at the railroad and got even dirtier. Oh, he's up here. He played tag with other dogs and became dirtier still. He slid down a coal chute and got the dirtiest of all. In fact, he changed from a white dog with black spots to a black dog with white spots. He's really changing there. If you notice, I just made a connection here to our Wonders readings from last week. We talked a lot about coal and how we burn it to make energy and electricity. And there he is playing in coal. So that's what it looks like in picture book form. Although there were many other things to do, Harry began to wonder if his family thought that he had really run away. He felt tired and hungry too. So without stopping on the way, he ran back home. So this is what he looks like, and he's on his way home. When Harry got to his house, he crawled through the fence and sat looking at the back door. One of the family looked out and said, "There's a strange dog in the backyard. By the way, has anyone seen Harry?" When Harry heard this, he tried very hard to show them that he was Harry. He started to do all his old clever tricks. He flip-flopped and he flop-flipped. He rolled over and he played dead. He danced and he sang. He did these tricks over and over again, but everyone shook his head and said, "Oh no, it couldn't be Harry," because his appearance is so different, right? He doesn't look like himself. Harry gave up and walked slowly toward the gate, but suddenly he stopped. He ran to a corner of the garden and started to dig furiously. Soon he jumped away from the hole, barking short, happy barks. He'd found the scrubbing brush, and carrying it in his mouth, he ran into the house. Up the stairs he dashed, with the family following close behind. He jumped into the bathtub and sat up, begging, with the scrubbing brush in his mouth, a trick he certainly had never done before. "This little doggy wants a bath," cried the little girl, and her father said, "Why don't you and your brother give him one?" Harry's bath was the soapiest one he'd ever had. It worked like magic. As soon as the children started to scrub, they began shouting, "Mommy, Daddy, look, look, come quick. It's Harry, it's Harry, it's Harry," they cried. Harry wagged his tail and was very, very happy. His family combed and brushed him lovingly, and he became once again a white dog with black spots. It was wonderful to be home. After dinner, Harry fell asleep in his favorite place, happily dreaming of how much fun it had been getting dirty. He slept so soundly he didn't even feel the scrubbing brush that he had hidden under his pillow. And there's a little brush in the corner if you can't see it. And that is the end of Harry the Dirty Dog. It's a fun story. So now I'm going to look at my organizer. I have the book with me in case I need to go back and reread and see if there's something I missed. And I'm going to look at this organizer and I'm going to think, okay, main idea. What was that story about, right? I need to say it in a couple words, but really, what was it about? I'm thinking, okay, it was about a dog. We know that. It was about a dog that didn't like to have baths, so he ran away from home and got really dirty, but then his family couldn't recognize him, so he had to clean himself up so that he could be home and happy with his family again. Now that's a lot of words, so how can I cut that down? I'm going to say the main idea here is that Harry didn't like baths. Harry didn't like baths, but he missed his family, right? Because that's what he was unhappy about. That was a problem. The problem was that he didn't like baths, but then there was another problem that he missed his family. Right? So the main idea was that we have this dog who doesn't like baths, but then he runs away from home and he misses his family. So you could put 1 to 2 sentences in there for a main idea. That's about how long you could say that it is. Now, key details here. Remember, that important word is key details. I don't want to be told this is what happens first and then this and then this in every little detail of the story. I want the 3 most important details from this story. So let's think about that. You can go back into the book too and say, okay, what is the first thing that happens that is really important? If somebody was not reading this book, they didn't read it, but you wanted to tell them about it, what would you say the first thing that happens? Let's see. So we have this dog and he doesn't like baths, right? So he doesn't like baths and he runs away from home. I'm going to say that that's the first key detail. So doesn't like baths. That's important for us to know because that is why he ran away from home, right? Doesn't like baths, ran away from home. That's my first key detail. We have this dog who doesn't like baths. Because he doesn't like having a bath, he runs away from home, right? Cause and effect right there. That's my first key detail. Then what happens? Not what happens just next in the story, but what happens that's important. I don't need to know that he played in the coal, right? I need to know something bigger that happens that's really important. So he goes and gets really dirty, right? We have all these pages explaining to us what he does to get dirty, rather than writing down all of these details about how he got dirty. I'm going to say that my key detail is that Harry gets dirty, right? I don't need to explain all the different ways he got dirty, but the important thing is that he got all dirty. He gets dirty, right? And then we have a problem where his family can't recognize him anymore. They think that their dog is gone and that this other dog who looks different has come back to their house. So his family doesn't recognize him, right? He's really upset. And then he gets this idea to grab the scrubbing brush that he had buried and take a bath so his family will recognize him again. So for my third key detail, I'm going to say Harry decides to take a bath. And then to get a little more information in here, I'm going to say Harry decides to take a bath because his family doesn't recognize him. They don't know that it's him. So let's look at what we have here. It's a little messy, I apologize. So I'm saying that the main idea of this whole book was that we have this dog, Harry. He doesn't like baths, but he also doesn't like it when his family doesn't recognize him. He doesn't feel comfortable with that, right? The first key detail is that he doesn't like baths and he runs away from home. Then the second key detail was that he got all dirty. That's important for someone to know because that explains why his family doesn't recognize him. So the third key detail is that he finally decides to take a bath because his family doesn't recognize him. It's almost like beginning, middle, end, but you're saying the most important things. And you want to make sure that your key details all connect back to this main idea. You have the big main idea and then a couple little things that make up the main idea. Okay, I hope that was helpful for you to understand main idea and key detail. You'll see that your activity for today asks you to use a book of your own and identify the main idea and a couple of details. So good luck with that. Hope you guys are having a great week and I'll see you soon. Bye.